Before this evening's group meditation, let's explore the benefits of mindfulness. The first benefit of mindfulness, ironically enough, is that it is not active concentration. For active concentration is the bastard child of both rigidity and our controlling tendencies. It accesses, it tickles, it activates the bottom of our brain, the amygdala, the seat of fear and aggression, sparking in us the ugliness of our inner Darth Sidious. Because mindfulness is not active concentration, because mindfulness is just awareness practiced vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, it helps us to reclaim our genetic birthright to live not from our underbrain's amygdala, but from kind of our midbrains, anterior cingulate gyrus, the seat of empathy, the hub of our mirror neurons, to help us access our inner Qui-Gon Jinn, flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. One of the greatest benefits of practicing mindfulness in all of its vulnerability, passivity, visceralness, and randomness is it clears away the vast array of shoulds and musts and allows the most greatest need of our body, of our mind, of our emotions to elbow its way forward and make its needs known in that moment. For although we might have many needs, not all those needs are ready to be dealt with. And the fluidity of mindfulness allows the moment's greatest needs to come to the fore. But what do we do with that need? Every time we exhale, we spontaneously access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is wired for physical relaxation and mental release. And just as the pincers might hold the glowing iron to the anvil, it is the hammer that strikes the glowing hot iron that shapes it. So mindfulness is like the pincers, meditation is like the hammer. Our job is not to make the ugliness go away. Our job is not to make our inner ugliness, that is a reaction to the outer ugliness, go away. Our job is to make peace with that which we like and with that which we don't like. The external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, as well as the grotesque. Any fool can be happy when they get what they want, when they want, for as long as they want. The mark of a sage is contentment in the face of adversity, not the manufactured, not the, what's it called? Not the analog of contentment, which is the thin veneer that relies on self-talk or getting herself worked up and into a frenzy. No, the visceral contentment that comes from allowing our mind to be healed by the twin functions of our autonomic nervous system's sympathetic and parasympathetic branches. I look forward to chatting and meditating with you in about a minute and a half. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. If you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi upon the toasty sands of Tatooine under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Now for a bit of good news. If at any point during this evening's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. If you're watching on a laptop or a desktop, that chat window should be on the right. If you are watching on your smartphone, that chat window should be down below. It's like that Bob Seger song, They Got the Fire Down Below. That takes me back to junior high. Is it button 9 that I want? No, it's button 14 that I want. Come as a team, let us chant with the Wednesday evening passage of Garab Dorje's Spaciousness of Vajrasattva, the earliest Dzogchen text. A gradual spiritual path of purification is at odds with the effortlessness of the true condition. This is really important. Beware of people who call themselves teachers, who tell you that Dzogchen is for the elite, it's for the special, who've worked very, very hard for 10 or 20 years. No. There is, according to the founder of Dzogchen, there are no prerequisites. You don't need to contemplate on sutra. You don't need to contemplate on tantra. You don't need to contemplate preciousness, impermanence, suffering, or interdependence. You don't need to contemplate, you don't need to knock out 100,000 bows, do 100,000 mandala offerings, or 100,000 recitations of the 100-syllable mantra, or 1.2 million recitations of the 12-syllable mantra. You don't have to do any of that. And the time and energy squandered in such foolishness, one could have already mastered the path. Don't take my word for it. These are the words of the founder of Dzogchen. Let's continue. Realization does not come by following such a path. That is like searching for the end of space. The true condition being what it is, revealed as it is, cannot be seen as a path to travel. So this is a radical teaching of both Ati Yoga, Dzogchen Triksho, and Mahamudra Sutra. And it goes like this. This inhalation and this exhalation are the entirety of the path. Every exhalation, we are liberated. When this process is so mastered that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively, then we are enlightened. And that mastery can occur in as little as 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. If someone tells you otherwise, they're trying to exploit you. Or they're just weak-minded. The state of effortless enlightenment is a source of all its manifestations are all marvelous wonders. Gotta move this mic. Okay, there we go. Past and present abide within the true condition. The eternal now of consciousness is the path for all. In this moment, wherever we are is now. Whatever we see or hear or feel or taste or smell is now. Whatever we emote, intend, reason, recall, or imagine is now. Whether it is glorious or grotesque, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, it is the crucible of the now, the blacksmith workshop of the now. And whatever it is, as we breathe in, it is dualistic. As we relax into our exhalation, it is non-dualistic. That is just how we're wired. This is suchness, the light of wisdom, the realization of enlightened beings both past and yet to come. This living presence is a universal way, the moon in its reflection on water on non-dual. The mind of awakening is not to be found by those engrossed in fabricated features and stages of the way. Fabricated stages of the way. If you really want to get confused, speak to a pseudo-intellectual. What's the basic difference between a scholar and a yogi? A scholar will squander a decade memorizing outlines and stages of the path. A yogi will accomplish the path in a fraction of the time. All right, then. What are we going for now? I guess we're going for this. Let's hit button number 9. Whoopsie. There we go. Let us briefly recite or chant the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge that we might exercise the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm. Sort of like an invigorating workout. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the 3 jewels. The set of exercises known in mindfulness meditation have many synonyms, such as Zen, Cham, Jhana, Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, and Trekcho. The key to mindfulness is to allow our sympathetic nervous system during our inhalation to perceive, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. That is why we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun, this. The key to meditation is, which is accessed during our exhalation, is to physically relax and to mentally release our grasp on that which we perceived. Therefore, as we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite this. And as we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite relaxing. It's just that simple. If you've just tuned in, welcome aboard, matey. When you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. I'll check for questions approximately every 8 or 9 minutes. Tally-ho. Hey Brock, do me a favor. If the live stream seems clearer than it did last week, or worse, please let me know either way. Oh, there is patriarchy and there is matriarchy. There is yang and there is yin. There is Sith, and there is Darth Sidious. There is Qui-Gon Jinn. The former would say that if you experience a negative emotion, then you're wicked and evil and must go through horrible austerities. The latter would say, when you are breathing in and you tend to notice something that some people may call wicked or evil or painful, once you breathe out and relax, you are transforming yourself. The goal is not to transform what we feel. The goal is to process what we feel. That is the key, not to a analog of love, but the highest love, which is spontaneous and uncontrived. The beautiful irony of maybe feeling cranky and yet still being kind to others, not as an act of hypocrisy, but of maturity. There are teachers that I feel very sentimental towards. Even if they're dead, still might feel sentimental towards them. And even though I might love them and respect them, I do not always agree with them. For some of them were fear mongers. Some of them felt that the only reason people practiced meditation because they feared taking real or imagined rebirth in a real or imagined hell. And so, to prevent people from taking bad rebirth, he would scare them with fear. And as a little boy, my mother taught cooking classes at the local high school. And all the hippie girls would come over to my mom's kitchen, and I'd sit there quietly crushing on them. And so, as a little boy, I imprinted on the archetype of the enlightened hippie. Whether they were real or imagined, they had a profound effect on me. And I carry a real or imagined archetype of a hippie girl inside of my heart. And that hippie girl didn't like fear. She thought it was yucky. And I did my best to ignore her. But when I practiced the fearmonger's instructions, it made me cranky. And when I looked at my peers, they were cranky. And when I looked at the senior students of my teacher, they were cranky and neurotic. And it's like, dude, I'm already cranky and neurotic. I don't need more crankiness and neurosis. I need to transcend that. And so, with great anguish, I left and sought additional training from additional teachers. Because the test of the teachings is not how impressive an organization is, or how cool or beautiful someone's chanting is. The test of the teaching is the effect it has when we apply the teaching. Whether that effect is weak or strong or pleasurable or painful or beautiful or ugly. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm this great, courageous fellow. I'm a survivor of the three circles of hell that some children endure. I was raised to be an angry coward in a broken body with little leeway for adventure. And yet, over these decades, these numerous misadventures, I have not missed a meal. I have not been homeless. Even as I've had robes and shelter, and clothing, access to the teachings, and opportunity to practice them, and even the electronic means to share them with others. Despite all the disadvantages, despite having to part ways with large monastic institutions, there is safety in allegiance to peace and love and vulnerability, spontaneity, and of the horror, the terror, the fright, and of not having the path spelt out. I'm reminded of the final reel of the second Terminator movie, that seemed to have been filmed from inside the cabin of a pickup truck as it sped along an unlit highway in Mexico at midnight. And just as the passengers could only see as far as the headlights, which is just a handful of meters, similarly, as we speed along our personal paths, we seldom know more than what is just before us. Those who are to control us, those who manipulate us, would try to seduce us with tales of a primrose path already laid out. But the great luminaries teach us that the only footstep that is important is this one. Fabulous, Brock. Thank you. Beware of teachers who seek to belittle you with glib sayings that sound spiritual but are not rooted in the Buddha's teachings. If someone says to you, the only reason you suffer when your heart gets broken, the only reason your heart gets broken is because you believe in a self, that's not what the Buddha taught. The Buddha never denigrated anyone for suffering. He used the no-self teachings, anatta for those keeping score. He used the no-self teachings as a tool to help us let go. As a turn of phrase, a figurative statement, as in the phrase, the heartbreak you perceive as you breathe in, once you breathe out, or as you breathe out, could feel as if it was as non-graspable, as if it was not you. You see, when we victim blame and victim shame, all we're doing is creating subconscious motivation to undermine our own mindfulness. But we remain vulnerable to the ugliness, to the glories and grotesqueries of the present moment. That is the path of liberation. Why, thank you, Brock. Together, let us seal this evening's practice with a very concise chant. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness with spontaneous and uncontrived. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning lesson and meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.